What is up, everybody? It is Wednesday afternoon. That means it is Whitewall Wednesday, and it is time to get into some marketing tips and tricks to help you get the most out of every marketing campaign. So I'm Nick Moss, and I like to see you make money. I'm here to help you understand the terrain in a big digital sense. We're doing this on Instagram, but we're going to cover a lot of terrain. So I'll give this a few minutes for everyone to get in. All right. So it is Whitewall Wednesday, and I am excited to be here. Today we're talking about marketing for entrepreneurs and startups, the marketing sales funnel. I'm going to cover our team, what we do, how we do it. I'm going to cover our leads, discussing different platforms, our experiences, both the good and the bad experiences, so the trials and the successes. And we're going to discuss how you can tie your lead generation efforts into a lot of the platforms that you're already using. What's up, Mel? Hello. So we will get into this in just a minute. Give people a chance to get in. So we've previously discussed audience and platform analysis. So we have a video on that you can go see on our Instagram page. And we've also discussed the importance of taking that analysis and starting everything off with branding. So just making sure that your branding is on point. So we're going to give this one more minute and let people get in here today. Daniel, if you want to join me, give me a thumbs up. Oh, there's a thumbs up. All right, y'all. So we're going to get this party started. What up, Jonathan? Yeah, I think we might as well just do what we did earlier today. Honestly, we got a thing going.
Let's do it.
Long time no see. Okay, so we'll start the video somewhere around here. And Whitewall Wednesday, it is 4 o'clock, so it's time to get into some tips and tricks to help you get the most out of every marketing campaign. My boy Dan, looking sharp, partner at Whitewall, and myself, Nick Moss. Been here too long, and I just do a lot of social media stuff. I want to share some of that knowledge because it can get thick. So today we're discussing how you can actually generate leads with social media and other platforms. We're going to get into some money-making tips and tricks. In previous videos, we've discussed audience segmentation, how to break down your audience, and how to choose your platforms. You can just go check that out on our Instagram page. We've also talked about the importance of taking that and developing some branding guidelines. So just making sure that your brand is on point and consistent with fonts and colors and simple things, but that eye for detail. So those videos are already on our Instagram page. You can go check that out. Today's about money making. We're gonna get into some lead generation strategy. And we've also got some other team members on here. So we've got our VP of marketing, Jonathan. I can see our social media director, Melanie. There are a lot of people at this agency that work hard to make these funnels effective. But if you're an entrepreneur out there and you're trying to do it yourself, we'll help you out as well, because that's where we started. So we like to call ourselves a marketing director's best friend, but today we're your best friend, regardless of what position you hold. Learn more about us on our Whitewallmedia.agency website, and you can get into it there. So let's just dive into it.
Money, let's get some money tips.
Yeah, let's get some money tips.
How do I make money with digital media? I don't get it. How do I make money?
Yeah, so all right. So obviously one of our bread and butter items, Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn advertising. Some things that we've seen that work well and don't work well. There is definitely native lead form advertising in those systems where people don't have to leave and go to another website. They don't have to travel around. you lose people every time they move platforms.
Like
So
on
using,
Facebook, you're saying like these lead forms or something, right?
yeah, the Facebook lead ads, they just outperform the website click ads every day of the week. So yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, audience, but have you guys used a lot of those web click ads, seen hundreds of people go into your website, you're getting 5 cents a click, things all look good, but just nothing's happening, um, or very little is happening. It seems like drips coming out. That stuff drives me crazy. But the lead gen ads seem much more effective. I mean, $5 or $10 per lead. You're getting real people, their phone number, their email. You can follow up with them.
Right.
So I don't know. For me, that's like test both campaigns, but I almost don't even want to anymore. It's those are really effective. So I mean, yeah, how do you go through the lead gen process like with Facebook ads?
I mean, look, once you've figured out your target market, understanding what do they want to see, right? And that goes back to your previous videos about branding. Um, you know, showing your demographic what they want to see. You can do some testing, some optimization in terms of when they want to see it, but getting the candy in front of the right person at the right time is vital. From there, it's just a matter of clicks. People see what they want to see. They're going to engage. They're going to click. From there, lead form pops open, fill it out. We're off to the races, right? We've got your information. We've got what we're looking for. We've gotten our target market to perform the desired action that we wanted. I mean, that's the whole point of creating these funnels. The whole point of marketing and advertising in its sense is to get people to do an action that benefits us.
Yeah. And so we want to help you guys squeeze money out of all these campaigns here. So I'm gonna get into some of the sticky points, which are usually at my point, like at the top of the funnel. And then D, I'll kind of let you talk about some of the ones you were talking about earlier and our other group meeting. But good to see everybody jumping on here. So yeah, basically at the top of the funnel, one of the things that I see is just coming out of the gate with different creative at the same time, at the same pace. So some people kind of just put a video out there and they don't test their video with what we'd call still images or that cover image of like 4 or 5 different cover images for that video. And something as simple as choosing, several different cover images for your video and running ads with that, which takes a handful of seconds to create those different iterations, can save you a ton of money, right? That first call to action, even though it's a video, there's still a still image that's going to first capture your attention. And some little testing like that out of the gate can save people a ton of time and energy and money. And so that's one thing I would suggest, is just create those iterations. Don't get crazy with it, but that's been a sticking point with me is, test your creative and run with that.
Right.
And then the same thing is, if you're going to test things, if you test something this week versus test it the first week of December, the timing of everything is so different that you're not really testing things apples to apples. So keep in mind that you want to test just as few variables as possible to get that data right. So test and just try and keep it all as singular as possible, so you know what you're testing for. But your budget is going to go a lot further that way. And then Daniel, as these leads are coming in on Facebook, like let's say we're using Facebook lead ads, which have worked really well, what are the sticking points for you as those process through Facebook and they start to hit?
For me, it's looking at the numbers, looking at the data, right? So a few KPIs that I like to look at are the click-through rate, right? Another abbreviation, CTR, for all those people that don't live and breathe it every day. Gets a little confusing, but the click-through rate is vital for me. That really shows when people see and they stop on our ad, what are they doing? Do they just continue scrolling, or do they stop, wait, digest, and engage, right? They click. That's the whole point, is to get them to click. From there, we can retarget. I mean, do all sorts of different things. I'm not going to go down that road, but the CTR, as well as then, our, maybe looking at the budget in terms of cost effectiveness of each campaign and each ad set. How well is this advertising and this content performing with our audience? Things like that. So I would say a mixture between the CTR, the click-through rate, and your budget per result. I would use those in combination to kind of optimize and tweak your targeting, as well as your assets, your content that you're pushing out there.
Yeah. So Guys, throw up a bunch of, I don't know what emojis we want to use here, but throw up a bunch of hearts if you've run Facebook lead ads, gotten leads, and just feel like they didn't work for you. All right, so I'm seeing a handful of those popping in. So that's something that Daniel, I guess we were also talking about earlier, is at some point this transitions from marketing to sales, right? Like you're going to actually earn your lead. And so once you've earned your lead, how do you actually turn them into a customer? How do you actually monetize that? And there, it is a little bit tricky also. Once you've earned that lead off of Facebook or social media, again, we were recommending Facebook lead ads as opposed to web click ads. But as you're coming through there, we have a number of sequences in place. So how we respond to that lead and the timing of that, what are some of those sticking points with that like handoff?
Yeah, I think you know, you're making a good point between marketing and sales. In my opinion, I think that there's a hard line in the sand, and that happens right as the lead form is filled in. It's at that point that this has now changed hands, and you're going from marketing to sales. Once you have that lead, I mean, off the rip, the first thing I do, hit them with an email. I mean, it's just that easy. Automated email within 30 seconds of them receiving, or within them filling out your form, right? So I'd start there. From there, I mean, there's depending on kind of one industry and how aggressive you want to take it. You could go with automated SMS. You can even go with an automated phone call with a recorded voice message, all sorts of things like that, you know. But what's really important is to follow through and be consistent day in and day out. So, and that's going down kind of the sales rabbit hole. I'm not sure how far we want to go there, but really starting with a automated email, and then, you know, if you want to get a little bit more sophisticated and on an automated SMS text really seals the deal there.
Yeah, and so for those that aren't familiar, a platform I'd recommend is Zapier. It's sort of a weird name, but Zapier. Zapier is a great program which can take the Facebook lead and then do something with that. So if you want to send out an email from there, or if you want to send out a text message, or you want to follow up with certain sequences, Zapier is a cool little program. Zapier.com it's a cool little program that you can use just to grab those Facebook leads as they come in and actually start setting up those sequences. Facebook itself looks like it's starting to try and get in there. They've got a leads center, which they just came out with a few months ago. So yeah, they're kind of revamping things day by day as well. So yeah, in terms of monetizing those leads, we also noticed that people tend to forget that they've filled things out. I mean, it's insane. So whatever strategy that you're using, it's amazing whether, you know, whatever it is, we kind of have to remind people what they filled out, and that sales process is important too. So following up within, you know, that same day, hopefully within 15 minutes, but definitely within 12 hours, 24 max, is just critical to that conversion process. So aside from the whole structure of things, the timing itself of how long it takes you to get back in touch with these people is huge. 15 minutes, you're usually pretty good. 12 hours later, they'll probably remember you. 24 hours later, you have to jog their memory a little bit.
It's crazy that in my how many people just forget. You know, it's like you know, for us, you know, you see a lead come through, you're like, holy crap, our stuff's working, our marketing's working, things are going right, and then you call them, they're like, no, I never filled in that form. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So it's kind of you know, I always like to start, whether it's an email, a text, or a phone call, I always like to kind of preface it with who I am and reminding them, hey, by the way, you're the one that reached out to me. You clicked on our ad. You filled in.
Yeah, I'm following up on your, on your form. Yeah.
I want to help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way, because otherwise, a lot of times you'll notice that people are just like, what? I didn't do that, you know?
That sales part it's where kind of science meets art a little bit. Yeah, marketing and sales is where science meets art for sure. But yeah, a lot of times people will be like, I don't remember filling out that ad at all. And I just know that they actually need help. I mean, we're professional matchmakers in a sense. I'm like, well, I know you're attracted to that product or service in some way, so let's reverse engineer this. And, you know, are you still interested in something that could help you with that, or something that could do this? Well, I am. So regardless of whether they remember an ad, sometimes you can kind of jog them back in there. But But yeah, I would say, what about a 50% qualification rate from people that come in on ads. Just either they're not quite ready for taking action, which certainly is understandable, or they just actually forgot that
Right.
they wanted to participate.
But you know, that's okay because you know, whether you call them and reach out and they're not interested, I mean, there's a reason they filled out the form. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't count those leads as having no value per se. You know, they're just not ready now. So put them in a nurture campaign. And that's I mean that's a whole other topic in itself. Having a nurture campaign with a monthly newsletter to kind of jog their memory and continue re-engaging. But that can be extremely beneficial in producing prospects and hot leads down the road, 3-6 months from now. You never know.
Well, and that's a good point. Advertising and newsletters play really well together. And advertising, you're sort of paying for every lead you earn. But if you can plug that into a monthly newsletter, you can slowly grow hundreds of, subscribers every month, and you don't really have to pay to find them again. You might have $20 or whatever for a newsletter system, but you're not really paying to reach those people the way that you are on advertising.
Right.
So advertising, when leveraged with backup mailers, are just a really powerful kind of 1-2 punch system as well. That's a good point. Yeah. And yeah, really, I mean, these days, everything's about relationships. So whether or not they're ready, you just show them some love. You kind of keep touching base with them every once in a while. And I think our newsletters produce 10 or 20% of the campaign value on the monthly basis for a handful of our clients. And really, those are just following up with people that we earned from ads in the first place. So it's just money on top, cream on top, basically. So does anyone have questions in the audience of how to monetize basically Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram? Lead generation really is just monetizing your social platforms to a certain extent. And we can get into e-commerce, like selling stuff on your website, in another conversation. Today's more about lead generation, but yeah, our general process is, audience analysis, branding, actually get out on the platforms and advertise, pull those leads into a central customer management system where we then follow up with email or phone or text, and just help answer questions and push things along. So you need the whole recipe to make that work. I would suggest don't go in there with half the recipe, but
I think what a lot of people struggle with, Nick, is the automated part. That's really a systems heavy component. You really got to know how to connect all these systems, all these different wires. And especially when we're transferring over from marketing to sales, we've now crossed that line because the user has filled in the form and they now become a warm lead. You don't want to spend all day monitoring and waiting and, oh my God, when's the lead going to come in? I need to jump down there, throw it immediately. That doesn't make sense. You don't have time for that type of stuff, right? So that's where the automated systems, that's just big time. Can't say it enough. Is hit them off the bat as soon as they fill out the form. Automated email, bam. And that gives you information because you can find out whether or not they opened or clicked within that email. And that can kind of lead you on your next follow-up process. But having those systems connected and automations where necessary is vital.
Yeah. And Whitewall can help with 0 to 100. So if you like managing things on a day-to-day and you need some help with systems and strategy and working around that, we can do that. If you need someone just to come in and take care of the whole thing, we'll be the architects and the construction crew and get it done. So yeah, whatever you guys need help with, and little questions. Like I said, we always just like to see a business grow. So send us a shout in the DMs, and we can always answer your questions one by one, if there's something else. But yeah, I think in terms of just generating good leads, the value of social media, like lead generation ads specifically, as opposed to web lead ads, that's just the starting point. And there's definitely Google, and you can also have platforms where you buy leads, and there are a lot of others. I tend to think that Facebook is the cheapest place that I can find lead generation. Google is probably the second cheapest. Google and LinkedIn are kind of a good second or third. So there's definitely money to be made on every platform. But if you're looking at going after the lowest hanging fruit first, I'd say start with Facebook, try and grow yourself into Google and LinkedIn, and then keep just going through platforms that make sense for your business. That's a broad generalization, but that's probably 80% of what I'd see for businesses out there. Even if you don't think your customers are on Facebook, I can probably convince you otherwise. There's just so many people on these platforms that there's a lot of lead to be earned. So, yeah,
Totally.
any big advice that we're missing?
No, I mean, I think we've got it all in a nutshell there. I mean, I think the big thing here is really don't give up. It's a lot of work in up front for the marketing, and then it's a lot of follow up and a lot of touch points on the sales side. You just got to stick with it, stay consistent, keep your head up, and eventually these leads will convert and revenues. You'll be sailing down the revenue stream.
Yeah. So, and one last little tip for the Facebook lead ads. One of the nice thing about those Facebook/Instagram lead gen ads, and same with LinkedIn, I believe, is that the form will be auto-filled with the person's first name, last name, phone number, email, a lot of those components. So it just makes it really easy for the person to hit submit. We tend to say add a custom question or two in there just to make sure that you get some information in there and also qualify the lead a little bit. So you don't want too many questions. You don't want to scare the lead off. But generally that will help, make sure that you have scrubbed the lead to some extent before they jump in. So yeah, I mean, today we really talk about money making, how to actually monetize your social media platforms here. And so as we discussed before in previous videos, you can find it on our Instagram. Audience segmentation is the starting point. Go check out the audience segmentation video, and that'll help you kind of determine what platforms that you should really be on, where your audience will be. And go check out our branding video with Naeem, super awesome creative director, fucking genius. So watch the video on branding and just making sure your brand is on point. Simple things like fonts and colors just really bring the brand together. And we'll post this video, which is all about the actual money making lead gen strategies, on Instagram pretty soon. So if you didn't catch it, or if you're catching it at the end here, don't worry. Just go check out our profile and you can watch it from the beginning. All right, so Titans of marketing taking over the world. I guess we'll let everyone get back to their day.
That's it.
What's your strategy tonight, Brain? Take over the world. Oh, you didn't watch Pinky and the Brain growing up?
I did. That one flew over my head for a minute. It's only been about 20 years since I've seen that, maybe longer.
Enzo, please cut that piece off. All right. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. If you need any more tips or tricks, just give us a shout. And we're here every Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, Whitewall Wednesday, bringing you more tips. All right, y'all. Enjoy your evening.